Kristy Glass here of Kristy Glass Knits. I have a finished object for you today, and it is not a knitted finished object. It is what I'm wearing and what's behind me and a few other show and tell pieces. I was browsing through Instagram, as you do, and my friend Ariel put up these gorgeous pieces that she had ice dyed. So it's not tie-dye, it's ice dye, and I had been exposed to it before. I think my friend Amy of Knit Collage had made some sweatpants, and I thought it was really interesting and cool, but when I saw my friend Ariel's pieces, I was like, I want to make exactly what you made. So I succeeded. I love this. This was the one that I modeled almost exactly after her piece. And I had a lot of questions when I gave a little tease about it on my Instagram story as I was doing the ice dye, so I thought I would do a dedicated video to it. So Ariel pointed me in the direction of a tutorial from Creative Bug, and I'm going to link to it underneath this video. In the Creative Bug tutorial, she tells you everything you need to do, and then they do it in the studio with like a heat gun so that the ice melts quickly for the purposes of the demonstration, but I did the ice melting outside in the grass. I watched her video, I read a few articles on it, and I decided to go for it basically exactly how they told me to, but I did it with my own little spin. So I want to give you a few ideas if you decide to do some ice dyeing. Now the reason why the dyeing looks so cool is because of the ice. You put the dye on top of the ice and the ice melts and makes these awesome patterns. I knew that I wanted to try to get a little more bang for my buck. So I went to Home Depot and got this drop cloth, and I put this on my grass. So you can see that I did all of my dyeing on top of the cloth. And my hope was that I had a really cool tablecloth when I was done, and I think I succeeded. So I also got this fencing that's a grid that you would put maybe around like a little vegetable patch to prevent a rabbit from getting in. And I balanced it on top of a box that I had and a sled with some cinder block pieces also at Home Depot. So I didn't buy a cinder block. I just said, hey, these are broken pieces. Can I just have them? They said, sure. So I weighted down the gate on top of this makeshift, just like so it was kind of like lifted off of the drop cloth a little bit. And then I placed my items on the gate. So I have some footage of that I'd like to show you right now. The dye that I purchased is from Dharma Trading Company, and I don't really know much more except that I think I saw what to buy in some article somewhere, and then I bought exactly what they said. So I'm not showing you the dyes right now because dye gets everywhere and the bottles are not very clean, but I will link to what I purchased underneath this video as well. And they were out of a few of the dyes that I purchased, but I made do with a light red, a hot pink, and an orchid as my colors here, a deep orange. I think I also used some ice blue in here for this top. And then I also got citrus yellow and golden yellow and a robin's egg blue. I think those are the ones that I was working with. So I wanted to show you the results of my ice dyeing. It took me all day because I didn't have enough workspace to do everything at once, and I also wanted to do some experimenting before I got to the garments. Now my friend Ariel, she used pieces in her wardrobe that had stains on them, so it is such a wonderful way to give your old white shirts new life. I know I find with my white shirts, I don't even wear them that often, but they'll get armpit stains or maybe makeup stains in the collar. So don't get rid of those pieces. It's time to ice dye them. Another tip that I like is to go to the sales section of a store that you like. For example, I really like Urban Outfitters for this, or Free People, and find something that is 100% cotton white that's an interesting shape. That's not just a t-shirt. So for example, this one I got at Free People, and I think it's such a cool shape on its own, but I would never wear it just white. It had to be ice dyed. And then I also purchased a few dresses and some overalls. So I want to show you, well, let's start with my my learning curve. So another thing I wanted to achieve in this dye day, because I'm not a huge fan of dyeing, I think it's such an arduous process. My hat goes off to you yarn dyers, because it's so many steps and it's so messy. So I wanted to make sure I was getting a lot out of my dye day. So this is a stack of burp cloths that I made so that when someone has a baby, I have a gift that was homemade by me. This, of course, is my favorite one, and it's the first one that I tried. So I'll just take you through the stack so you can see how they turned out. And I had some help from my 8-year-old helper as well. She, of course, wanted to get in on the action. And I just love how vibrant they are and how beautiful. This is just the two, the robin's egg and the yellow together. Now, I don't know what happened here. I think what happened here is I didn't use enough dye. So you don't want to go crazy with the dye, because then it's going to take forever to rinse it out. But this, I think, is a case of not quite using enough. I mean, it's still something, but to me, this looks like a mistake and not something I would want to gift someone necessarily. So this stack of burp cloths I got on Amazon. I'm sure that you can find, if you just go on a website like that, maybe Amazon or Target or Walmart, something like that, and just type in 100% cotton, you'll find lots of different options. So my other stack is these bandanas. So I love wearing bandanas, and I also thought this could be a fun gift idea. Or something that I think is fun is when I wrap a gift in cloth. So this could be something you could wrap the gift in instead of using paper, and then it can be repurposed as gift wrap, or it can be used as a bandana. And some of the, I really, really love what happened here. This is a really good example of how the ice dye makes it look almost like a geode. Is that a word? Geode. Now this one, I did a little experimenting with folding. So this was kind of tie-dye, shibori, and ice dye all rolled into one. So that's something easy you can do with bandanas, is you can do some symmetry. I think this one was also probably folded in fourths. I don't think this one was folded. This one looks like it had a little curve in the bottom corner that I put in, also a la tie-dye. This one was definitely folded in some way. And this one, I believe, had a little curve put in the middle. So when you watch the Creative Bug, you will see that she does do some, I don't know if it's folding, more scrunching with her fabrics, and then she just places all that ice on top and goes for it. I had enough ice in my freezer to do a few bandanas, I think about 4 bandanas, and then I had to go to the liquor store in the corner and get more ice. So I ended up using, I think, a total of 5 or 6 bags for everything that I'm showing you today. This top you've already seen. I love, 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 love how this turned out. And I will show you these in full length too, because you really can't get a sense of them with me just holding them up. But this is a dress, and I wanted this to be my colors, like my pinks and purples. So I just think, look at how cool that is. It just makes the coolest fabric so much cooler than tie-dye, in my opinion. I mean, tie-dye is awesome too, but look at the skirt of this. Look at that. I just think it looks artistic and awesome. So another tip in the gift category is I purchased some aprons, and I knew that I'd gotten a 2-pack, but when I pulled them out, I was like, there's only one. maybe this is the 2-pack. There's 1 and 1 because I thought I'd bought 4. Well, it turns out my aprons were right next to each other, and I didn't even realize until I went to get them out of the washer that I had made 2 of the exact same apron because they were just right within each other. They were so tight. So I actually have 2 that look almost identical here. Look how cool that is. And it's such a great apron. You can cook with it or do art with it, and you would never know if you got, you know, a paint splatter on your apron. I'll show you that out as well. And then look at this one. This is so cool. So I think that I made a little circular motion in the middle here, just like you would do with tie-dye. And look how cool that is. And the ice will sometimes split the dye so that certain different colors kind of pop out. There is a chance maybe that I got a little blue on here, but I think that might just be the dye splitting, which is really fun. Then I wanted to make one that wasn't pink at all. So I went for the robin's egg blue and the yellow, and I noticed that I had spilled a little bit of purple on this. So when I saw that, I think it was the orchid, when I saw that down here, I tried to add a little of the ice blue in to kind of incorporate it. So you just have to be really careful. You have to be really open to letting the process flow if you're in tight quarters like I was, and not be mad about it. But isn't this so cool? It just makes a white dress a piece of art, in my opinion. And then my final piece that I wanted to show you is my overalls. And these, I had seen a pair of white pants in a blog article about this ice dye technique. And it just was, they were white with just these like splotches of color. So I was torn between trying to make these overalls kind of look like this top, where I wanted everything covered in a color. And it does get tricky. If you're trying to make a shape and you are trying to wrangle the ice is slippery. And there were parts in the process where I noticed that it was still a little white, so I added dye and ice along the way. So I was torn between wanting a complete solid color overall and then going with this technique of having them white with accents. And since I was making this one totally all color, I decided to go for that with this overalls to make it the white with the splotches. So I did that, and I was really, really proud of this moment here. I wanted this moment a lot, where I had the colors that I wanted and then with just a little bit of that darkness. And it only happened a couple of times because I don't have much experience with this dyeing process, and I didn't want to overdo it or make it muddy. Here's another moment like that right here. And it kind of goes around the back. So I love these. They kind of look like fire coming up from the bottom. And I do like how the red tag of the overalls kind of is incorporated in this splotch of red happening. There's also some really fun little splatter moments here by the pockets that were not intentional by me, but just happened. And I had these overalls on with this top, and my daughter, who's very critical of all my color and everything I wear, she's like, "Mom, it's too much," all the time. She just stood in the doorway and was staring at me, and I'm going, I don't know what she's going to say. And she goes, "I love this. I love what's happening here." So that made me feel really, really good. So these overalls were very fun. I felt nervous about all of it, but I am so happy with the results. I think this was such a successful craft. I think everything looks artistic and expensive. I think it all looks elevated. I feel proud about these items to wear and to give to others. So even though it's not knitting, it is me made. And I know there's a lot of people who are interested in dyeing who may already have these Dharma trading dyes in their arsenal and may have pieces that need a new life. And gifting season and quarantine and all the things, I just feel like there is no reason why you should not try this and make it part of your life. So this is my Kristy Glass Knits PSA for ice dyeing. I hope you enjoyed it, and I certainly was thinking of you guys the whole time I was doing this. I was like, I cannot wait to share all the information I can about this. And so enjoy. I will see you next time here on Kristy Glass Knits. Bye. Here's some in-progress shots. How it's all going. And I think my favorite result of this whole thing is that I'm gonna have a tablecloth also. This is where we are now at near 4 in the afternoon. These are the garments, this is what I'm most excited about. So I've got some overalls here that I wanted to intentionally have just like splotches of color. I'm very excited about this. I hope this holds. That's exactly what I wanted. I wanted like this dark color to bring the brights in, like a little moody. So I'm hoping that happens in other places along these overalls. I'm not sure there's enough happening at the top, but I'll try not to be upset about it. And then I wanted the blue, green, yellow dress to happen, which is going on right here. I'm actually surprised it's not a little darker with the robin's egg blue that I used, but you know, going with it. Drop cloth is making awesome progress. Look at that. I'm loving that. And then this is a dress that's meant to be just sort of shades of purple, red, pink. And then this is a shirt that I wanted to have the same thing, only add orange. So that's that. And I've kind of been navigating the ice and adding to it throughout the day and adding a little dye because I didn't want these to read white at all. Unlike this one, I do want to have lots of white.